How's it going, friends? Welcome to another episode of your podcast, Okran Leaks. Today's topic is going to be good. As you saw, we will delve into the history of a corrido that has been very famous. For several years, it was one of my favorite corridos, and was always present in the USB flash drive, was always in the car or the racer. As you saw, I mean the corrido of the last battle. But first, I will send some greetings and answer some comments. Also is the 4th of April, the 4th of the 4th, which will be the day this video is released on my channel, which is Pocha's birthday. It is his 68th birthday, and, well, I take the opportunity to remind you of that. I had planned to release an episode with a few stories that happened on and anecdotes from his birthday, but I'll work on it a little more to bring it to you later. And, well, friends, let's move on to the greetings. First of all, to my friend Maite Montes, who writes, "Greetings from Los, Reyes Navolato, Compa Ocran, and send greetings to my mom, who always says, 'Are you watching that masked guy again?' Well, a big greeting and a big hug to the mother-in-law, I mean, your mom, Maite. Many greetings, and I hope you are all doing very well. Also, a greeting to my friend Ulysses Macias 4154, who wrote to me, 'Okran, greetings from Monterey, and I can't listen to your videos anymore while driving on the highway. I have to wait until I get home because my wife is a fan too.' Well, greetings, my friend, to you and your lady. Hope you're both doing well, and I hope that you become a member of the channel if you're not already. Anyway, I wish you well, and hope you're doing great, and that after the video, the palanque gets good, my friend. Greetings." Also greetings to my friend, E.M.E. Arias 6189, who tells me, "Following from the beginning, I don't want greetings, just so you know I pay more attention to you than to school." So, well, my friend, I'm not sure if I should send you a greeting because you don't want it, but I'm sending it anyway. And we also need to pay attention to school, because you never know when you'll need that learning. Greetings, and we're at your service. Also a greeting to my friend Fernando Palma 216, who tells me, "Greetings, my Okran, send me a greeting, don't be mean." No, how could you think we'd be mean, my friend? We are here at your service. A big greeting, and I hope you are doing very well. Also, send a greeting, buddy. Telenomundo, I think. I hope I mentioned your name correctly. 4761. Greetings since day one from the Dominican Republic. They closed my other account because of a comment I made to Memeline. Well, big greetings, friend, all the way to the Dominican Republic, a very beautiful country that I had the chance to visit, believe it or not. And, well, friend, you need to be more measured with the comments. You never know when the platform or users might get offended. But greetings, and we're at your service. Also, to my friend Juan Santiago 8565, who tells me, "Okran, I had already unsubscribed from Patreon, but I will have to return." I imagine that's what you meant. Thank you very much, my friend. We appreciate the support in advance. We are very grateful, and I hope you continue to enjoy the content, and thank you for the support. Also to my friend Jesus Garcia, who tells me, "Buddy Okram, if possible, send regards to my buddy Chumel Del Paso." Well, regards to your friend Chumel Del Paso. Thanks, buddy, there's my like. Thank you very much for the like, and again, greetings to your buddy Chewy. Also a greeting to my friend Ineditus. I'm more focused on your ideas than on my wife. Well, pay attention, buddy, or your wife might get upset. You should also pay attention to your wife. And if possible, like the other friend I greeted, who put the videos together and take the opportunity to watch them together. But regards, and at your service. Says the friend Bugs Bunny Kashando. Wow. I was having a big hand job. Wow, well, yes. Yes, you are Kashando, friend. I was having a big hand job when I got the notification for the new video. Quick as lightning, I put it aside and put the other one on. Man, friend, good thing you saved it. I wouldn't have felt comfortable knowing you were doing your thing while watching the video. But now all good, buddy. Thank you very much for the support, and we're here at your service. Also, a greeting to Enrique Prieto Cachares 9977, who writes to me, Sir, greetings from Salamanca, Spain. As soon as I got the month new member. Keep it up. You're great, buddy. Well, thank you very, very much for the support, man. We are at your service. Send greetings to Salamanca and to all of Spain, which is a very beautiful country. Jose Alvarez also tells us, greetings, sir. My old lady cheated on me, but no worries because you uploaded a video and the sadness went away. Oh, well, friend. As they say, that's how they all are. I mean, just like all men are, all women are too, right? Take it all with humor and give it your best. The right one will come along or you find the right one, buddy, whichever way. Cheers, and we are here for you. The group Raza says, Buddy, how long can we wear your cap here in Culichi? Greetings, friend, to the capital of Sinaloa. I hope everything gets resolved soon and that calm returns for you Culichis, fellow citizens. And I hope soon. I think right now from the river of Forum to the south, I think you can already use it, but caution is advised. We are at your service. Regards, friend. Christian Aguilar 74777 says, Greetings, Okran. Yes, it's worth being a member of the Okran channel. Well, thank you very much, friends. And as the friend says, there are people who think it's not worth it. It is worth it. Find out. Subscribe. If you don't like it, you have the right of removing it, but I am very grateful to those who support. Thank you very much, truly, for the support. And I invite you to at least try it. Subscribe and become members, and if you like the content, very grateful. Also, greetings to my buddy Franco, the Chelador 22. I think that's your name. I hope I pronounced it correctly as well. I get paid 10,000 pesos a week as a loader, and with a clear conscience. That's right, my friend. It doesn't matter. I think at a certain point it no longer matters what you earn, what you don't earn, and what matters most is the amount, the peace, that you have with your family, that you live comfortably. And I also hope that you go up, that you can earn more, but always with the peace of being with your family. A big hello, and we're at your service, my friend. Here's a shout out also to him from TJLB. How much does Mayito Flaco pay you? Well, I think that man, yes, he has big bucks in his pocket. I honestly don't know if he's a member, but I think if he is, he must be the most expensive member of the channel. But as I say, maybe he pays me with likes and views like all of you. Anyway, we are at your service. Greetings to my friend Elda. I hope I have answered your question. And also to Villarreal W2J. Become a member, man. It's worth it. Well, listen to the friend. Greetings. Thanks for the promotion, my friend. And take care. And, well, friends, let's continue with what's important, which is today's episode. But, well, friends, I hope you like the comments and greetings. I enjoy reading what you comment quite a bit. So, comment here if you want me to send you a greeting in some video. We return to this week's topic. As you know, it is about the CORRIDO La Última Batalla, also known as the CORRIDO of the famous Chubet Antrax, as the CORRIDO tells us a bit about Chubet and how he received his resignation. The CORRIDO was written by the well-known composer Giovanni Cabrera, and I saw in a video that he composed it on the same day as the funeral. Wow, he has talent. The CORRIDO became known and has been performed by several groups over the years, But personally, I think the one who has performed it best is the person who originally released it. It's been many years since the group Triple Norte sing it for the first time, to whom I send greetings and recommend that they listen to this corrido of the last battle and also other corridos, for example. The one I like a lot from them is the story of Rodrigo. Among others, like El Changuito and more corridos, it has a good repertoire. I also like how Jesus Ojeda y sus parientes sing it, but as I mentioned, it has been interpreted by many more groups, like Los Nuevos Rebeldes, Traviesos de la Sierra, Grupo Rebeldía, the famous Grupo Firme, and even the even more famous Pitin Toys also sing it. Truly, it was an anthem in its time. It wasn't missing from any party in Culiacan. Imagine this at a party, on a wall, a quinta, a ranch, or an estate, or whatever you want to call it. The group Triple Norte livened up the party. But the one singing was not Emilio, but the famous Chino Antrax, while being accompanied by characters like other members of Los Antrax and also another famous figure like Claudia Ochoa Felix, and other people who were very famous in those years. And of course, the corrido that Chino sings is the corrido I'm telling you about now, the one about Chubet Antrax, or the last battle. But now, friends, before telling you about this corrido and detailing what it says, let's talk about the characters involved in it. The corrido is originally for Chubet, of whom I present a photo here. Here we can see Chubet. There I introduced you to Chubet, but in this event, Pedron and Frankie also were resigned. But here I am also going to introduce you to Pedron so you can meet him. Here we can see Pedron. And finally, I am going to introduce Frankie. The one in the hat is Frankie. Here in the middle, we can see Chino Antrax, Jose Rodrigo. And here, lastly, beside him, is Francisco Arce, better known as Pancho Arce. So we will talk a bit about each of them. But first, who were the Antrax and what was their role within the Telcar? I imagine many of you already know who the Antrax were, but it is worth explaining this. Well, the Antrax were a group in service of the Telcar. They started as security for the Zambada family. Before, they had no name and were led by Fellow, who was part of the Zambada's security, but Fellow was dismissed in 2008. And the one Vicente appointed as commander was Rodrigo Arechiga Gamboa, alias El Chino. And he was the one who formed the Antrax. And thus, little by little, during that war of 2008, they went from being the security of La Familia to being the armed wing, organizing attacks against the enemies of the Telcar. They became very famous and had many members. Broadly speaking, these are the Antrax. Now let's move on to talk individually about, with much respect for the families of the individuals. First, I present to you Chubet Antrax. His name is Jesus Humberto Corona Guillen. Here, I will show you another photo of Chubet. So we can see Chubet beside the famous Master Quintero. El Chuve, born in September of 1978. A well-known figure within the Telcar and, like many of the Antrax, coming from the Las Huertas neighborhood. As the corrido says, by the first and second, well, he lived in the second. Here I will show you where this is. Well, friends, down here is the supply market. This is Avenida Revolucion, as you can see. This is the international road heading south. And all of this neighborhood is the neighborhood of Las Huertas. Over there are the famous first and second, where most of the Antrax got to know each other. Chubet was not born nor raised in a place or home where there was okra. In fact, his family was a fairly conventional family. Nothing illicit and nothing illegal. They only worked to support their family. And out of respect for the family, I won't say what they did for a living, but it's enough to say that it was nothing illegal. But one thing is inside your house and another very different thing is outside. Outside the house is where you meet friends who help shape your identity. And in that neighborhood in those years, there were quite a few young people hungry for money and power. That's how they gathered, and little by little they formed their groups, where Chubet stood out for his bravery. Over the years, Chubet was well established. He had a prominent position in the organization. Before Los Antrax were formed, he was part of the family's security. As I mentioned, Fellow was the commander, and beneath him were Chino and Chubet. Thus, yes, Chubet spent several years learning under the direct orders of Vicente and Fellow Antrax, then with Chino. But when the capture of young Vicente Zambada occurred, Chubet became the bodyguard of Mayito Gordo, where he spent the last years of his life. He looked very happy. He was someone who enjoyed his work and took it very seriously. He always provided complete security to the M. Gordo, constantly patrolling wherever he was and had a knack, always watching people's hands to make sure they didn't have anything in their hands that could harm him, his companions, but primarily to protect his boss. Besides the CORRIDO we will discuss today, there's another very good one too. This CORRIDO is called Lluvia de Metrallas, and you can find it with the group Cartel, also highly recommended. In this CORRIDO, the first verse says that the brave are respected. Vicente brings those people to stay firm on the goal. As I told you about Vicente, he was his escort. In another part of the CORRIDO it says, I am going to Segunda. The bitter water is freezing. This refers to going to 2nd Street, in the orchards, as I mentioned earlier, which was where he was and where he was going to celebrate over there. Well, these are just some little details about the CORRIDO, but listen to it completely, it's also good. At the time of his resignation in the city of Culiacan, his details were reported. They said he was Jesus Humberto Corona Guillen, 32 years old. They said he was an employee at a mechanical workshop, and also mentioned his residence in Colinas del Rey. Now, let's talk about another character. This one was called Frankie. His name was Francisco Holguin Velázquez, originally, it seems to me, from Campo Morelia, a small town located between Culiacan and El Limón de los Ramos. I'm going to show you its location here. Here, what is enclosed, friends, is the Morelia field. But I'm going to zoom out a bit so you can see. Here is Limón de los Ramos, here, and here is the exit to Culiacan. In case you can locate it, it is approx. It is a little closer to Culiacan, but it's between Limón de los Ramos and Culiacan. Of the Antrax, maybe he was the most reserved, who took more care not to be in the public eye, and who liked to stay on the sidelines and just work. He was good at working. He was making good money, unlike Chubet. Frankie came from a family in Okran since his father worked for the Pocha, and for this same reason, Frankie was one of the Antrax. You could say he had a good relationship with the juniors from Telcar. He got along spectacularly well with the children of Yoma, and he could also get along and greet the children of Pocha and Mini. At parties, he had two personalities. Sometimes he was at the front with the bosses, toasting and celebrating, and other times in the back with a more work-focused demeanor, less relaxed, and more attentive to what was happening around. But here, I will show you a photo where he was in his most party-loving side. As we can see in this photo, he was wearing his long and was very, very well accompanied by Mr. Manuel Torres. I cut the image, but the gentleman is Manuel. And as you see him with a hat, he was always at the service with the people of Salater, as they say. As I told you, Frankie wasn't very famous, but he did have some corridos, and I will tell you the most well-known ones. First, the most famous one I think is by Enigma Norteño, the one that starts by saying, "I'm also among the crowd. I'm in a bind, no problems," something like that it said. That's it. And in this corrido, there isn't much to decipher. It just mentions a part of the corrido that says, R15, a good weapon that I carry with several shots, just like the Goldar in the photo I showed you with Manuel Torres. I think that's the one they're talking about, and that's his favorite or was his favorite. He has had another with Roberto Tapia. I think it's older than the one by Enigma, but the corrido is also good. There isn't much to decipher in this one either. Just listen to it when you have the chance. We conclude with the song that the group Escolta de Guerra made for him. That song was made post-mortem, meaning after Frankie had passed away. The name of the corrido is El Franklin, or El Boinas, so you can look it up. That one is my second favorite after El Enigma Norteño. But well, both, as I told you, Frankie was very loved by everyone. He was appreciated by the Mayitos, El Chino, El Cheyo, Pancho Arce, also with the Chapatos, El Mini, as well as with Manuel Torres and many others. But he also had friendships with some of the Beltran and their people, and because of the 2008 war, he had to separate from those friendships. Frankie, unlike the other characters, was not a bodyguard for the family. He was one of the people and at their service. But his job wasn't to provide protection or resign people. But that day he had the bad luck of being in that place, which ended up with him being resigned. At the time of this, the newspaper reported that his name was Franklin Holguin Velasquez, 31 years old, who was engaged in ranching and agriculture. They said he had his residence in the Infonavit du Maya and also in the Las Quintas neighborhood. Now, let's continue with the story of Pedron Antrax. I believe he is the most famous of the three because of the corrido that became so well known, which carries his name and was performed by Tito Torbellino, among others. Pedron, whose full name was Pedro Valenzuela Mesa. He was the oldest of those involved, from the town of Lo de Silva, somewhat near Tamazula, Durango, perhaps about 2 hours away. This person, as I mentioned, was one of the most well-known of the Antrax, because everyone wanted to have him with them. They always wanted to take him to parties and gatherings because Pedron was a character. When he was there, laughter was guaranteed. Here, I'll show you a video of Pedron driving.
Quisieron matar al Roque, comandante de los Antrax. Pero faltaron medallas para arrancarme la vida. Con impactos condenaban, mirándose las heridas. Una super del patrón que trabajaba y no fallaba. Cambiaba los ganadores con manos de temblaba. Aguerrido por la vida en aquel fuego cruzado, el muchacho resistía pidiendo apoyo por radio, y el plomo de su pistola hacía que retrocediera. Uno empujaba la bola solo de eso que corriera. Agua, agua. Eso que la derecha, la derecha. De pronto llegó el gobierno
Well, friends, as I told you, Pedron was quite a character. He was never absent from parties and always caused laughter. Well, friends, here ends the first part of this story. Stay tuned for next week to know the second part of the story. Thanks everyone for your support and look forward to more content from your friend Okran. Greetings.